Follow me to learn about the history and uniqueness of my top 5 rock and Español albums.
He's got a wicked cat and he's talking about some random man is George music hunt.
I decided to just take this chronologically, and we're going to be looking at albums that range from 1973 to 1994, starting with 1973's Artaud by Pescado Rabioso. Already you can see how odd and unique this album is. Spinetta, the leader of this band, wanted a misshapen album cover, and I'm sure it was quite the fight with the record label. Though this is the third album under the name Pescado Rabioso, this is actually more like a solo album by Luis Alberto Spinetta, though he also includes help from a couple of his bandmates from his first band, Almendra. This is an interesting concept album based on the writings of a French poet named Antonin Artaud, hence the title and the picture of the little dude over here. Many of the album's lyrics reflect on things that he has written, and it's considered a reaction to him, yet also a tribute to the writings of the French poet. The album's booklet contains a phrase written by Artaud that says, "Are not green and yellow each of the opposite colors of death, green for resurrection and yellow for decomposition and decay?" And you can see that reflected in the album covers, green and yellow bleeding into each other. Though this album has some moments of Spinetta alone with his guitar and just beautiful singer-songwriter folky stuff, it also has a lot of jazz influence and progressive rock type stuff going on. And there's even one portion that is like musique concrete, psychedelia, and then right back into some jazzy prog. I really love a lot of the music in this. I feel like it's very unique, and I haven't heard this blend of folky jazz with Argentine influence anywhere else, and this album is a classic, and I will go back to it very frequently, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it as well. So check out Artaud from 1973, Pescado Rabioso from Argentina. Next on our list is El Patio by Triana, and I've been listening to this album for probably 13-14 years. This album came out in 1975 and is the first album by Triana. They came from the capital of Andalusia, Spain, where an emerging sound called Andalusian rock was forming at the time. I have seen certain places on the internet where people claim that Triana was the first of this sound, but I think it's more realistic that they upped the bar quite a bit, and then a lot of other bands took inspiration from that. Though there was definitely some more standard rock bands incorporating flamenco and other Spanish styles into their music, as well as a band from Los Angeles called Carmen that created an album called Fandangos in Space in 1973, and that has a mixture of Spanish and English while also being a mix of symphonic prog and flamenco. Take a symphonic progressive rock band from the 70s, add flamenco guitar playing, and you get Triana. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's super passionate, and it's very epic, and just absolutely wonderful, and I think everyone should check it out. The third album in today's list is taking us back to Buenos Aires, Argentina, where we're going to be finding Charly Garcia and his supergroup, Serú Girán. 1979 saw their second album, La Grasa de Las Capitales. It is a punch in the face of fast-paced jazz fusion prog rock, but it also can slow down to some absolutely beautiful and melancholic atmospheres that take you totally elsewhere. This album is a ride, and I absolutely love it. I've listened to it tons of times, and I know I'm going to be listening to it at least annually for the rest of my life. This passionate album was a bit of a political statement, but it was a song about suicide that had initially been a single, but was eventually rejected from the air by the government. If you're into Weather Report, Steely Dan, and anything in between, I would say definitely check out Serú Girán, especially this album here, La Grasa de Las Capitales. Side note, this album, as it's saying right here somewhere, also features David Lebon, who was actually on the first two Pescado Rabioso albums before that turned into Spinetta on his own to make Artaud, which was the first album on this list. Just a couple years later, Chilean progressive rock band Los Jaives released their 6th album, Las Alturas de Machu Picchu. This album is an epic journey with lyrics entirely based on a poem of the same name by Pablo Neruda, a Chilean poet who had written the poem in 1948. Though the album doesn't recite the entire poem, it does have the beginning, good chunks of the middle, and the ending for you. So it tells quite a big chunk of the story told in the epic poem, while giving us an abstract and complex journey through music that I think is totally unique and is one that everyone should be checking out. One of the great things about this album is how Chilean it is. It's about a place in Chile, it's by a band from Chile, it was based on a poem from a guy from Chile, and it has a lot of sounds inspired by the sounds of Chile. A lot of this Andean music is so terrific, and then they mix in the synthesizers and other progressive rock elements that we're seeing in the other parts of the world, and I think it makes for a wonderful experience that I know I'm going to be coming back to time and time again. Last and certainly not least on today's list is a Latin alternative rock and Español album by the one and only Kafetakuba. This is their 2nd album, Ray, and it was the first one that I had heard by the band, and it's 60 minutes of variety and eclectic whatever they want to do. Often considered the white album of Mexican rock music, this album is filled with Kafetakuba switching from genre to genre while blending in their whimsy and melodic catchiness. I recently released a video on Kafetakuba, so check it out if you want to see why I think maybe I should have done this album instead of Ray. Though Ray has just been the one that I've listened to the most, largely because this one is so hard to get your hands on. So check out that video, and make sure to follow me for more videos. You know how to support the YouTubers that you love. You gotta like, comment, and subscribe to make sure that you keep everybody continuously creating content for everybody to be happy in this new age of digital entertainment. Thank you for watching today. I hope you learned something, and I hope you seek some new music. Comment down below if you've heard of these bands. Comment which is your favorite. Tell me about some bands that you love. Maybe there's a niche in the musical history that I haven't checked out yet. Tell me all about it. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Have a wonderful one.